Okay, so the first one says rational, irrational, integer, whole. I will tell you that I will give you a point for every one that you answer right. So some of these are going to have 4 answers, and some of them are just going to have 1. Okay, so and I think that's the fairest way, because if you answer 3 out of 4 right, but you forget 1, I don't feel like you should get the whole question marked wrong. Okay, please do not cheat on your test. There's no point. You can fix the ones that you got wrong. I just really want to see so I can adjust my virtual learning and how I'm doing, how you guys are doing. Okay, so the first one, if we're looking at our chart, okay, and I'm going to explain the chart again because I want to make sure you know how to do it. So we have boxes inside of boxes inside of boxes. So if we're looking at, for example, we'll just say 2. Okay, if we're looking at the number 2, what we can say, is 2 a natural? Yes. That means all the other ones above it will be a yes, meaning that yes, it's a natural, so yes, it has to be a whole, yes, it has to be an integer, and yes, it has to be rational. Okay, if we look at -3, is it a natural? No. Whole? No. Integer? Yes. That means the next one above it is going to be a yes. That means yes, it will also be rational. If we're looking at 0, okay, is it a natural? No. Is it a whole? Yes. That means everything above it is going to be a yes. So yes, it's an integer. Yes, it's a rational. Okay, so get familiar with the sheet. The few things that I wrote on the sheet for today in an earlier class, if we think about the number 3.5, so is that a natural? No. Is it a whole? No. Actually, I said -3.5. Okay. People, since they see the negative, they have a tendency to think it's an integer, but it's also a decimal, so it's not actually an integer. So it would be no, but yes, it's a rational. Okay, so there are 4 types of rational. As technically there are like 3, but so the first one is a terminating decimal, meaning like 3.5, okay, or -3.5. The other one's going to be a fraction. Money is always rational, and a repeating decimal is always going to be rational. Okay, so somewhere on there, that would be some good notes to put on there. And I realize that I'm talking really fast, so you might have to watch the video later. But we all wrote like up here the different types of rationals for us to use on our quiz. Okay, so if we're looking at number 1 on the actual worksheet, 1/4. So we always start at the inside. So is it a natural? No. Is it a whole? No. Is it an integer? No. Is it a rational? Yes. So we're just going to write rational. And I know some of you guys are going to be tempted. And normally when we're doing the worksheets, I allow you to just abbreviate and write R. Okay, when you're doing your quiz, you need to write them all out. Okay, and the reason being is because some people, when they are writing multiples, sometimes they put R for rational and then comma for I. But then, well, this is what actually keeps happening, is that they write I for integer, R for rational, but then sometimes they write IR, which I would think would be irrational, but they just forgot their comma. Okay, so, and they meant to say integer and rational. So make sure that you write them out on your quiz day. Okay, number 2, it says what type of number? Rational, irrational, integer, whole, natural. Okay, so start on the inside of the box. So -8, is it a natural? No. Is it a whole? No. Is it an integer? Yes. So that makes everything above it a yes, which means it will also be rational. Okay, so we're going to say integer, and it's a rational. Okay, so for example, this question would be worth 2 points because you have 1, 2 answers, okay? So if you just put integer and you forgot to put rational, that's okay. I'll give you 1 out of the 2 points, okay? Okay, look at number 3. Okay, so number 3 says what type of number? It's a 2. So start on the inside, work your way out. Okay, is it a natural? Yes. So once we get a yes, that means everything above it is a yes. So yes, it will be whole. Yes, it will be integer. Yes, it will be rational. Okay, so you can say natural. whole. Integer and rational. Okay, and I had a very good question earlier. If you look on the back side, number 7 says 500. And someone said, well, Ms. Henning, I feel like it's a whole number because it's 500 and there's zeros. Okay, we're not looking at each individual digit, we're looking at the number as a whole, okay? So maybe the number's 100. Yes, I understand that there are zeros in there and that whole numbers have zeros. But we're talking about zero itself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way out to 500. Natural would be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way out to 500 bazillion million, okay? We're not looking at each digit within that number. We're looking at the entire number, okay? Number 4, huh?
I have a question.
Yes.
Instead of writing them out, can we just circle them?
Like up here?
Yeah.
Yes, as long as you do it very nicely, so I don't like question, is that one circle? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yes, I'm totally okay with that. It'll definitely save you some time.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay, so the number 4, okay, what type of number? Okay, it's an irrational. And we talked about heads or tails before. If it's irrational, it is only irrational and it's nothing else. So, just like a penny, you have heads, you have tails, it's either rational or irrational, okay? Now, if you go to number 9. So, 9, 10, 11, and 12 are about evaluating, and I know you're going to be tempted to just keep writing. Okay, please don't follow along. So, these are the ones that some people are riding a struggle bus with. As long as you write it out correctly, you should be fine. Okay, because your calculators, well, yeah, I don't know about your guys's. The calculators in here will do it all for you. Okay, so you need to find a really good calculator app, and I'll try to see if I can find one. But the calculators that I have, as long as you type them in all correctly, it does the order of operations for you. Bree, we're working on assignment 15.
Okay.
So as long as you have a decent calculator, it'll do it for you. If not, and you're using like a calculator on your phone, you have to type it in the correct order. So be aware of that. Or like an online calculator, okay? You have to type it in the correct order if it's just a plain Jane 1. So I'll see today if I can find a good calculator app that's going to kind of do all the stuff for you, okay? Let's do 9. So I have m minus q minus m minus m, okay? So my first m is 2 minus, I have a q here, which is 1, minus an m is 2, minus another m is 2. Okay? So addition and subtraction, we can go ahead and just do it all at the same time. So I got negative 2 minus 1 minus 2 minus 2. It's going to give you negative 3 for your answer. Okay, I will tell you that I'm a very fair quiz grader. So math, we have lots of steps, and I don't feel like it's right. If you did all your steps wrong, but you messed up on a negative or one little number, I don't feel like you should get the whole thing right. So each question is kind of worth more points, but it averages it out, okay? So I don't want you to be like, what the heck, she made this question for 10 points? Okay, I did that because then if you did one little thing wrong, you didn't get them all right, I can tell your logic and your thinking, especially if you're showing your work. And I can say, okay, well, they know what they were doing, but they just went wrong over here a little bit, okay? And that's where, like, I can say, oh, well, they got 9 out of 10 of it right. Was the answer right? No. Was it even close to right? Probably not. But you knew what you were doing, so take your time, slow down, what have you, but just know it's not the end of the world, and that I'm pretty fair as far as grading goes. Okay, let's look at 12. So 12 says minus 2x parentheses x plus y, close it, and we got x equals 5 and y equals negative 6. So go through, plug the stuff in. This one, what's it mean at the very beginning? Negative 2x. What's that mean if they're right next to each other?
You multiply.
You multiply, so we need to like somehow put times 5 or something for that x, okay? And then we got x plus y, so it's going to be 5 plus, and our y is going to be negative 6. Okay, and this is where I said if you guys have it doesn't even have to be a fancy calculator, okay? This is the calculator that we use in the class, and it will literally do everything for you, okay? And so I encourage them to use that. We'll see if we can find you some type of online calculator that's going to be